Oh, the horns are sounding. You know what that means. It's time to play some toss. Welcome, everyone, to episode 23 of the Tristain on Sports Show Toss. It's your main man, T-Squared, Tristain Thomas here. Thank you for joining us. So glad you are here, and I know it's not Wednesday, it's Saturday. Our premiere episode dropped on a Saturday, so it's not that weird that we're coming to you on a Saturday, but I usually tell you that new heat drops every single Wednesday, but I wasn't able to do that this week. But I'm hitting you guys up with a special episode of Toss. It's a quick toss. We're going to have a full episode for you this upcoming Wednesday. I promise you that. I could not leave you guys hanging without an episode of Toss this week because I heard and saw some absolute garbage from a couple of the Wisconsin teams that I could absolutely not let slide. Here's your quick toss. We're going to start off with the Milwaukee Bucks. And if you heard what I just said, I saw some bull. I heard some bull from a couple of Wisconsin teams. You guys pretty much know where I'm going to go with this. But for those of you who do not, let me tell you what I saw. Celtics game. Second time that the Bucks have played these guys in a week, I believe. They got to win against those guys. And here's the thing. Before I even get to that, I'm going to call this episode The Good and the Bad. That's what I'm going to name this episode because not everything is negative, but there's some good going on. There's some bad going on. I have to hit it all. And it tells a story from the good to the bad. So let me get to the good with the Milwaukee Bucks. The good is that they've gotten into a bit of a groove. Now, they lost last night's game to the Celtics on an incredible pass by Isaiah Thomas to Jay Crowder for a corner three. Pretty much sealed the game for those guys. But they've won 4 of the last 6 games. I mean, they've gotten into a pretty good offensive groove. The thing that is good with that, first off, they beat a couple of pretty entrenched playoff teams in the Celtics, who are third East currently, and the Hawks, which I believe they're 6th or 7th, one of the two there. So they got a couple of good quality wins, and that win against the Hawks was a double overtime. The thing that is making me happy, the good in this good-bad equation right now, is the fact that Jabari Parker and Giannis Antetokounmpo are both being aggressive. This is something we've been waiting to see from these two all season long. Now, don't get me wrong. Giannis has had a good season. He's had a good season. His game continues to evolve. He's scoring more points. He's rebounding the basketball more. He's getting more assists, more steals, more blocks. His stats have gone up each and every single season he's been in the league. Really took over the ball handling duties recently, and it's paid dividends, but we'll get to Giannis in a minute. Jabari Parker, I think it's safe to say that he is completely over that ACL tear from last season. I think he is completely healthy, and he is absolutely showing it. If that dunk that he put on in the Rising Stars game over the All-Star break wasn't a confirmation of that, then his play on the court with the Milwaukee Bucks definitely is. These are his stats. This is what he's averaging over his last 4 games. 22 points, 9.7 rebounds. He had a career high in both points and rebounds with 28 points and 13 rebounds. Again, in that double overtime win in Atlanta versus the Hawks. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from him. He is fully healthy and he is being aggressive. He is playing at an extremely high level right now. And this is what everyone pictured getting from the number 2 pick in the entire NBA draft just a couple of seasons ago. He's fully healthy. He's really coming to his own, really learning the NBA game. And this is nothing but good news. This is great news. This is what you mean by owning the future. That's the good news. Again, Giannis had a triple-double against the Lakers, Kobe's last game ever in Milwaukee. 27 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. He was really the facilitator, the playmaker in that game, and was still very aggressive offensively. Crashed the boards. Great distributor of the basketball, a great playmaker. He's able to make plays for others. You've seen that. I like him handling the basketball a 6'11 point guard. I will never have a problem with that. But Kobe said the same thing that we've all been saying about him. He needs to develop that jumper, and I think he will. His game has continued to evolve and get better each and every single year. You see that. You see that on the tape. You see that in the stat line. You can see it in him. And not that he needed extra motivation from a legend and a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, Kobe Bryant, to improve on his jumper, because I feel that he was going to go and do that for himself anyway, but it certainly helps. So I like him handling the basketball. I like where they are. Being aggressive, I'm talking Jabari and Giannis. That's where the good stops. Last night in that Celtics game, during a timeout, Greg Monroe and Chris Middleton decided to have a little hissy fit, decided to get into it, get in each other's faces. Middleton had to be restrained, or I think they were doing more so of that more for his good, other than because, Moose is a big dude. And I'm sniggling and giggling about it, but I'm really pretty disgusted by it, because all that fire, all that piss and vinegar that you guys are showing towards each other, you should be out there showing that to your opponents, not towards each other, not on the same team. You guys need to be going to use all that fire and all that pent up aggression and put that out there on the court and go and crush your opponent. It's part of the reason why you're 10 games under 500 now. You could show fire and passion towards each other, but you can't go out there and show it towards your opponent and go out there and make plays and get wins, improve, actually play some damn defense. It's absolutely ridiculous for you guys to be arguing amongst each other. Now, I get it. Sometimes you have a heat of the moment type of thing. You're in a heated competition. It just takes over you. Whatever the case may be. I've had it happen. I played the game. Sometimes you just don't see eye to eye with your teammate, but then you dap it up after the game's over. Say, hey, this is what I saw. Hey, this is what I saw. Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. Or, hey, okay, we'll be on the lookout for what each other saw next time. You're only going to win together, not when you're going at each other's throats. That's something that absolutely disgusted me. You could show all that fire, all that passion to get each other's grills, but you can't go and do that to your opponents. You can't use all that anger and all that venom that you're putting towards each other and put it into playing some solid defense and put it to hitting jumpers and playing good offensive basketball and go and actually win ball games and not be 10 games under 500. How about you use that for something that it's useful for, instead of trying to tear each other down, instead of trying to mark each other's territory, see who's the bigger dog? It's ridiculous. If it was a heat of the moment thing and the heat of competition, which, I haven't really bothered to even follow up on it because I was so disgusted by the fact that game is right there for them to have and to win. And they did not make the winning plays in order to take that game. It's been the same thing all season long, but yet you have the energy and the audacity to go and argue with each other in a timeout. Come on. It's part of the reason why your asses are 10 games under 500 now. It's ridiculous. Use the energy for something more constructive, like winning ball games, not being at each other's throats. Another thing that absolutely kills me and has been killing me all season long, and look, this is something we've all been calling for. We know that they lack this. They lacked it all season long. It's a far departure from where they were last season. Defensively, they are not there. For whatever reason, they play not a lick of defense. And it's embarrassing to watch, but yet you still have head coach Jason Kidd sitting there saying, hey, we just need to go back to the drawing board and make a commitment to defense. It's like, I just want to slam my head against the wall, because you hear this time and time again, and he says it in almost each and every single press conference that he's in. Oh, we need to go back to the drawing board and make a commitment to defense. Well, we got to play better defense. We got to make a commitment to defense. The defense isn't where it needs to be. We need to play better defense. And it hasn't happened all season. At one point, are you sick of talking about it and you want guys to go and be about it? because I'm damn sick and tired of it. There's a lot of people out there on Twitter and everywhere else, Bucs fans all over the world, that are sick and damn tired of hearing about it. I don't want you to talk about it. I want you to go out there and be the head coach and do something about it, because that is your job. If you can't get your guys to go and play defense for 48 minutes, then what good are you? If you really have no direction of what type of team that you're trying to put on the court so you could go and execute the things that you would like to, what good are you? This is the reason why you have a ton of media outlets asking, hey, do you want Jason Kidd in charge of this team during the rebuild? Is Jason Kidd going to be the head coach in 2 to 3 seasons? Will he be elsewhere in the organization? At what point are guys going to get it? We stuck a fork in this team long ago. We know they're not going to the playoffs, but at least you could show some kind of growth. Now, offensively, I've seen a bit of growth. They are at their best when they run, and they've been running a lot more, and I am appreciative of that. They've got those kinks worked out. Well, not completely, but you get my point. It's been better. But defensively, it's not there. And it's not going to be there this season. And will it ever be there ever again like it was last season? I don't know. I don't know. They have the guys who have length and athleticism and speed and youth on their side, and they should be able to cover a lot of ground and lock guys down, but it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. And that's the bad, because you slam your head against the wall and you constantly talk about, oh, we need to play better defense, but it doesn't happen. So what are you really going to do about it? Instead of sitting there in a press conference thinking the guys are going to hear it and magically be inspired, it doesn't work that way. What exactly do you work on as far as defense? And there's going to be some people who listen to this say, hey, well, if your team's 10 games under 500 and they don't stand a chance of making the playoffs, why do you even care? Because it's a right way and a wrong way to play the game. You have to play this game at a high level on both ends of the court, regardless of what your record is. That's what I pay my hard-earned money to go and see them for. That's why I make time out of my busy schedule to go and watch them on the Bucs app or Fox Sports Wisconsin for. Because I want to see growth. I want to see how we're going to own the future. I want to see guys go out there and win games. We may not make the playoffs, but I still want to see my team win. I still want to see my team improve. I think it's safe to say that this season was a complete regression. All the people out there that are saying, oh, last season was a fluke. You look at this season, maybe. That may be the truth. But I'm going to hang with my team, and we're going to continue to watch these guys, and we're going to get a little more deep into them next week on a full episode of Toss, because, I mean, it's the good and the bad, and like I said, Jabari Parker has been as advertised. He is giving you exactly what you thought he would give you when you selected him second in the NBA draft a couple seasons ago. Giannis continues his progression. Both these guys being aggressive is good for this squad. Winners of 4 of their last 6, with a couple of good quality wins within those 4. But how much longer can you sit here and go through the bad? I'm going to hang with them. I'm a Bucs fan for life. But at some point, you have to show progression and not regression. And the bad with this ball club, from the play on the defensive end to the coaching, they've all regressed. And that's unfortunate. We'll get more to them next week on a full episode of Toss. Right now, I want to move over to the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. Yes, I know, they're in the offseason. But the NFL Combine took place this week in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Field. You know, this is where the guy goes on and puts on the track shorts and all that, and they're running the 40-yard dash, and they're doing all the jumping and stretching and bench press and a lot of stuff that really doesn't tell you what kind of a player they're going to be. The tape will do that for you. This is more of a catch grab, but I digress. We're not talking about the NFL Scouting Combine. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers and something that both the head coach and the GM said. Here's the good. Mike McCarthy said in an interview today at the NFL Combine, quote, we might shock you this year. And this was his answer when he was asked about free agency activity, as in free agency signings, somebody from outside the organization coming in possibly. Now, it's good when you sit down, you think about some of the hits that they've had in free agency. Charles Woodson, obviously the one that stands out the most. People forget about Ryan Pickett. He was integral on that defense, especially in that running game, in the running defense, when they won the Super Bowl. Ryan Pickett was very integral in that. You think about guys like Julius Peppers. People forget about Cedric Benson. He got hurt, but he was running the football very well before he got hurt with that 1 year that he was here. So you've had some really good free agency pickups, but you've had some not so good ones as well. But the thing is, they've been far and few between. Now, Mike McCarthy said that we may shock you this year. That was his quote, and that was his answer when asked about the Packers' free agency activity. Now, I don't expect old man Ted to go and open up the purse strings and just give all the money to one guy. We know what our needs are. We need somebody at linebacker. Trevathan is a good name there. I would have loved to see another wide receiver come in, but Alshon Jeffrey is no longer an option. The Bears are putting the franchise tag on him, and hopefully they said they hope to get a long-term deal done with him. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but he's getting franchise tagged, so you can take him out of the equation. Maybe you might need some running back help. If you can't re-sign James Starks, there's a guy there by the name of Matt Forte who's a free agent who would fit this scheme perfectly. The best pass-catching running back in the NFL for many seasons. Still a damn good runner. Would fit the zone running scheme perfectly. One cut and go. Could run around you, could run through you. He is still a playmaker. A 1-2 punch with him and A. Lacy would be fantastic. Especially if you lose James Starks. Then you got some insurance there. We all have our things that we would love to see in free agency. And we all feel good when Mike McCarthy says, hey, we might shock you this year in free agency. But here's the bad. It wasn't Ted Thompson who said that. It was Mike McCarthy who said that. Mike McCarthy don't run things as far as football personnel goes. Ted Thompson does, and that's the bad. The bad is Mike McCarthy might feel that the Packers may shock you in free agency. But Ted Thompson likes to keep his purse strings really tight and closed. He had a press conference of his own. If you go on to the Toss Facebook page, that's facebook.com/TON-Sports-Show, that's TON Sports Show, you'll see my thoughts about his press conference. But I'll reiterate a little bit of what I said. Essentially, Ted Thompson said they value the draft, or they value free agency just as much as they value the draft. He said a lot of other things that were very, very. He also said that they weren't going to go chasing ghosts, because this is a question that he was asked about Aaron Rodgers' championship window possibly starting to close, or this team's championship opportunity window just, starting to close, not really like shut, but starting to get a little bit loose and starting to close. And he said he would refuse to absolutely just go and chase ghosts because he feels that so-and-so's window is closing. He's true to his draft to develop. Now, I said that I agree. I would much rather be in constant contention for world championships year in and year out than to sell out for one season, max your cap space, hamstring this team for many more seasons to come to try and go and win a championship that you're not even guaranteed to win. I don't want to win free agency every single year. Ask Dan Snyder how that went. Never goes well. But I would much rather be relevant every single year than to be relevant for one and irrelevant for the next 5 seasons. I agree with Ted Thompson on that. Where we don't agree is the fact that he's had a chance to help this team through free agency, bringing in impact players. Okay, and it's not to say that he hasn't. We named some of those guys when we started this segment. But I'm talking let's take this season, for example. You had a team that was struggling mightily offensively, did not have a deep threat at wide receiver. Your offensive line was really in shambles, but I mean, really, there's nothing you could really, that's really a tough area to really address in free agency, or picking a guy up off the street or making a trade for. That's really a tough. So that I could slide on. That I'll let him slide on. You had a fat and out of shape running back, unmotivated, had his worst season as a pro. It's for situations like that that you need to bring in impact players when you feel that the depth may not be what you think it is. Here's the thing. You can't always rely on draft to develop, because you're not always going to hit on every single guy. And when you don't, you set yourself back. And I think that's the thing that everyone is frustrated with. The thing that really made me frustrated is the fact that he stood there and lied to everybody's face as if they don't see the transactions being made, and as if they don't see the team that gets fielded week in and week out, as if he goes in and he dips into free agency on a regular basis to help his squad. That's the thing that drew my ire. That's the thing that pissed me off. Don't stand there and lie to everyone as if you value free agency as you do the draft, because you don't. You value the draft much more than free agency. We all know that. We all see that. We know this. We dealt with you for 10 years. We know your MO. Don't stand there and lie to us about it. That's the thing that really, really made me mad. When Mike McCarthy said, "Oh, we may shock you this year," I'm like, okay, great. He seems to be on board with a lot of other people saying we need to go and make more of a splash in free agency, not hamstring the franchise. Look, Ted Thompson is a smart guy. He knows he can figure out a way to go and get an impact player in his prime. Okay, impact player in his prime that's going to impact your team positively and still be able to sign your own guys and not hamstring the franchise for many seasons to come. We all know that he's smart enough to be able to do that. So why are you standing here in front of a room full of journalists and on television and an audience all around the world, Packers fans all around the world, and come through with that bold-faced lie that you value the draft and free agency exactly the same when you do not? That's a problem, and that's something that needs to change. And I think Mike McCarthy feels that exact same way. And I love how he just brushed off the question of what they asked him about McCarthy's frustration with him not really going into free agency to help the team. And he said, "Oh, I don't know how that got started." Now, there's got to be some type of frustration mounting there if McCarthy comes out and says, "Oh, we may shock you this season in free agency." Why would he even make a comment like that? Because he knows how Ted is. He's a guy that coaches the team. He knows what this team needs. He's the one coaching it. There's some type of disconnect there. There is no doubt about that. It's not enough to cause a big rift. It's not enough to cause these guys to go at each other's throats. But something needs to change. I said many times on Toss that this was going to be a huge offseason for Ted Thompson. If he does not do something positive in free agency to positively impact this team with an impact player that is going to be here for many years to come and keep this championship train going, then there's going to be some trouble. Mark Murphy may have came out today and said, "Hey, we have a system that works." Yeah, what else is he going to say? It's a system that does work. Draft and develop works. I have no problem with that. But you have to be able to go into free agency and make a move, because sometimes those players that you draft aren't going to develop. You can't always count on undrafted guys, free agent guys. And I'm not talking the marquee free agents that they're proven and everybody knows they can play in this league and they know they're going to work out in this system. I'm talking guys off the scrap heap and things like that. Those are the type of players that they like to bring in and develop. And sometimes they turn out. But the fact is, When they don't turn out, you get a season like this. You need to be able to go and positively impact your team. And that's just the bottom line of it. You have to be able to go and positively impact your squad through free agency. So this is a big offseason for Ted Thompson. And I know there's a lot of Packer fans all around the world that are crossing their fingers hoping that what Mike McCarthy said comes to fruition, that they're shocked at free agency. But for me, the only shock is how Ted Thompson decides not to participate in free agency. And quite honestly, I don't see that changing. This is your quick toss. All right, y'all, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This has been episode 23, your quick toss, good and bad. It's your friendly neighborhood T-Square Tristain Thomas here, getting ready to sign off. Again, brand new episode this Wednesday. I promise you guys a full-length episode of Toss. We got a bunch of stuff to get into. We're going to hit it hard. We're going to hit it heavy. And we're going to be just as truthful, opinionated, and passionate as we have ever been. You guys know the Facebook page. Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. You know about Libsyn. That's Toss Show. TOSSHOW.LIBSYN.com. That's tossshow.libsyn.com. You know my Twitter at the20double on Twitter. Get at me there. Live debates, all that good stuff. I try to keep it entertaining. So again, at the20double on Twitter. We are also on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher. So there are many ways to play some toss, get that heat fresh from the kitchen each and every single week. But as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This is Tristain Thomas reminding all of you that dreams don't catch themselves. Get up, get out, and get after it. Until next week, so long from Toss.